Hi all, this is Manjit from Alpha Capital, and in today's video I would be covering the topic of the recently presented budget. I would start with brief history of the budget in India, what is the process, and then why is it so important. So let's start with the history of the budget. So if I look back, the first budget was presented sometime in 1860, but obviously that was for East India Company. And the first budget for the independent India was presented in 1947 month of November. And till 1999, it was used to be presented on the last day of the month of February in the evening around 5 p.m. However, in 2017, there were a couple of key changes were done by our ex-finance minister, Mr. Arun Jaitley. One, he merged the railway budget with the union budget, and secondly, he started presenting it on the 1st of February, and that too in the morning around 11 a.m. And these practices are still being continued. Second is the process of budget. So this process starts sometime around 6 months before the date of presentation, and where there are a lot of discussions happen between the ministries, the states, union territories, different economists, bankers, and other stakeholders. And by collating all the data and taking all the discussions, this budget document is prepared, and then which the finance minister obviously discusses with the prime minister before presenting it on 1st of Feb. Now, after presenting it, also government has to present the bill in both Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha and get it passed before implementing it to start collecting those taxes and start doing all the expenditures. And thirdly, third part where why this budget is so important is basically since it gives details on different receivables and different payables for the government in terms of what are different expenditures which the governments will have to incur, and also what kind of receivable through taxes etc. they expect to receive in the coming financial year. So it gives a very good picture of how of the balance sheet and also the outlook on different sections of economy in the coming financial year. So that's why you would have seen a lot being covered in media and been written and been followed by different people. So this was a brief about the budget. Now let's discuss the key highlights of the current budget which was presented. So the first key highlight is the capital expenditure. Our finance minister has increased the allocation for capex by 37% from last year, and it's now close to 3.3% of our GDP, and it's around 10 lakh crore, which is like the highest in last 25 years. And so we can expect better infrastructure in terms of roads, railways, etc. In fact, railways allocation has gone up by 50% and close to around 2.4 lakh crore in the upcoming financial year, which is almost 9 times on what it was 10 years back. So that's good, and the capex has a multiplier effect on the overall economic growth. So that should help our economy to grow in the long term. The second point is the fiscal deficit. Government has managed to achieve the target for the current financial year, which was around 6.4% for this GDP, and in the next financial year, it aims to decrease it to 5.9% and gradually reduce it to 4.5% of the GDP in the next 2 years. So this is a great news, and it should help in making our balance sheet stronger and reduce the borrowings. Third point is around the subsidies. The subsidies are expected to be reduced from 2.1% to around 1.3% in the next financial year, which is good. And all the subsidies which was given during COVID-19, those should normalize, and which may impact also rural spends. Then talking about the changes to the personal tax, the new tax regime has seen some good changes in terms of the number of slabs has been reduced from 6 to 5. The tax rebate limit has increased from 5 to 7 lakhs. The surcharge on the top slab has been reduced, and on the certain financial investment products, the certain changes have been made in sense like for insurance policies where your the total premium paid is over more than 5 lakhs. then the income will be taxable. All the ULIPs is not included in this. And even for the MLDs, the gains will be considered as short-term capital gains, and they will be taxed by adding to the investor's income. And a couple of other key highlights on the budget have been on the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, which has been a successful scheme of government, and the allocation have been increased by 6%, so which would really help in building more houses for the weaker sections of society in the urban India. The other point is around the 35,000 crore allocation to cleaner energy. So that would really help us in achieving our zero emission targets of 2070. The other point was, which was a bit of disappointment, was the reduced allocation from 2.65% to around 2.5% for education, because we believe in a developing country like India, the education sector needs higher allocations to help and support the faster growth of the economy and skills. But overall, we think this budget was quite balanced, knowing that this budget was actually the last one before the upcoming elections the next year. The government kept a focus on the long-term economic growth by increasing the allocations to capex and not focusing too much on the social spends. So really hope this budget will really further help our economy to keep growing and keep growing as the fastest growing economy in the world. Thank you.